Welcome to the Solex podcast, where we discuss changing the way people approach their health. Everything at its most fundamental level is energy and frequency, and we are proud to be at the forefront of this field, even though we are just scratching the surface.
You know, we just launched a whole new side of Solex, the AO Infinity line. And it's exciting because there's some products in there that are really outstanding. And at first when it came out, people were going, this doesn't have anything to do with the scanner. And the truth is, it has everything to do with the scanner. Because these are tools, when coupled with the scanner, make the scanner and the tool more effective, than them on their own.
Right.
And so the first one is the Infinity one, and you have some experience with the Terahertz side of the wand.
Yes.
Why don't you share some of that with us?
Well, I started using Terahertz probably a year and a half or so before you launched Infinity Wand, and I was blown away. I had never heard anything about it until a technology had come out promoting Terahertz. And so I did a lot of research, and literally it boiled down to Terahertz is that neutral frequency between far infrared and microwave, where you've got your ionizing frequencies and your non-ionizing frequencies. And Terahertz is neutral, meaning it can't hurt anyone.
Correct.
But it's also like life force energy. It's the vibration of a perfect, healthy human cell. So as, we talk a lot about cellular voltage, and as the energy is depleted from the cell, that's where we start leading to pain, inflammation, different disease situations, or just, out of balance.
Right.
Well, what if we can blow life force energy back into the body at the cellular level? So that's what I've seen is where, literally with Terahertz, we're using it on the body on energetic points as well as physical points, because we can actually clear blockages, whether it's energetic blockages or physical blockages, which now the body is working the way that it's supposed to, so it can self-correct all of those things that have happened from that depleted cellular voltage.
So true. So I'm going to take two words that you said, Terahertz and life force energy. Now, you mentioned those to the average person on the street, and they're going to think you're from some voodoo colony, okay? But let's bring those into today's reality. Volkswagen, their paint division, uses a Terahertz measuring device to measure the thickness of the paint on the body of the car. Terahertz is a real scientific method of doing lots of things. So their Terahertz is not a voodoo thing. It's a real science.
Well, they also use it in scanning systems in the airports because
Absolutely.
It's less harmful than what they were using before.
Correct. The other one is life force energy. That's another one of those almost new age things. But what is life force energy? Life force energy, food is life force energy. Yeah. Good, healthy water, clean water is life force energy. So these are things that we get stuck on misinformation, and it's sad because we're limiting ourselves to old ideas and in a lot of cases wrong ideas.
Yeah.
So what you just mentioned about the Terahertz as a neutral frequency, that is wonderful because it's true. You can use Terahertz on your body and not hurt you.
Right.
It doesn't matter where it goes on your body.
Right.
It's not going to hurt you.
Right.
And it is giving you that life force energy, just like food and water, exercise do. So with your Terahertz, and I know you've been hit with this a few times as we have, how do I use it? Where do I use it? How long do I use it? These are tough ones because they're so easy to answer.
Well, some people have the analysis paralysis,
Yeah,
and they think
so
they have to follow everything to the T or it's not going to work. Well, you really don't need to. Also, the thing that makes Terahertz so powerful is that rapid vibration. And what happens when you're blowing that towards the body where there are cells that have been mutated, they literally liquefy because they can't take that powerful vibration. Right. And the cells that have got some damage to it, it actually can bring health back to them. So you don't have to put it anywhere in particular, just blow it on your body.
That's right. It's like getting into the shower and say, well, I spent 5 minutes with the shower on my back. Now I got to turn around and do 5 minutes on the... you just need a shower.
Yes.
And with the terahertz, it's the same thing. You just need that energy on your body.
Yes.
Sometimes it's best on your feet, maybe on your knee. It doesn't really matter where it goes. You know, one of the things they do with the terahertz wand is they'll aim it towards water. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh, I charge my water every morning.
Okay, so you charge your water.
I do.
With the terahertz.
With the terahertz.
There you go.
I learned a long time ago that the magnetic gas of the planet has, been affected with atomic bombing and all kinds of things that man's doing to just destroy our atmosphere. And what happens is water molecules are sticking together. So they're too large to get, clumping, too large to get in and out of the cells. So when you've got people saying, well, I drink a ton of water, but they're clinically dehydrated, the water's just not able to get in the cells.
So true.
So we've been structuring water with magnets and all kinds of different things. But I love using my terahertz wand because not only am I structuring the water back to that linear form so it can get in and out of my cells for better hydration, but I'm also putting life force energy into there.
So I'm going to go back to two words again. Structuring water and charging water are really just fancy ways of saying we're declumping the water. We're getting it down to smaller clumps, to what you refer to as linear form, to where the cells are in smaller groups, or the water is in smaller molecules to where the cells can absorb them. And that's really what it is. Again, let's take it out of that voodoo realm and help people understand all we're doing is making the water more hydrationable to the body. Does that make sense? And that's not really a word, hydrationable, but I made one up. So that's where it's at. But when water is coming down a waterfall and it's going over the rocks and over the thing, that's what's happening there. It's being structured and it's being charged.
Exactly.
And all we're doing it with the terahertz is we're adding the motion and the airflow. Now, in the Infinity Wand, we've added a couple other things that aren't in some of the other wands on the market. One is the ionic gold and ionic silver exchange. So as the air flows over those two plates of silver and gold, it adds that energy of gold and silver. We know that that's a real thing because that's what we use on our circuit boards is silver and gold because the data can flow freely and more unobstructed on a gold and silver trace. By adding that to your water now has that extra charge. The other thing that we do is we add side-bin. So as the air flows through that, it's going over the side-bin beads as well as the 7 crystals that have been broken up, kind of like the water on a waterfall. As the air flows over that, it's being bumped and structured as it goes through. So these are the things that the AO Infinity Wand does differently than other ones in the market.
Also, it has the red light and the blue light.
Great, yeah.
Red light therapy, people use this a lot for pain and inflammation and even skin conditions. Blue light also has been known for a lot of
antiviral, and so it can be used for antiviral and antibacterial as well.
Exactly.
Because so those two, and you're putting that into your water. Now, on the red and the blue, that's going to be more efficient on our skin, right? That in the water,
right? And
maybe even a little bit of the terahertz flowing over the crystals. But that's what is the difference between the Infinity Wand and the other ones on the market.
Well, and the motor that we have also, it's like a 2,000 hour motor compared to like a 200.
Yeah.
So this is going to last so much longer for people, and it's so much more reliable and sturdy. So I did a comparison actually, because I have all the other ones. I have all of them. I want to try them all out. And I did a comparison the night that we launched the Infinity Wand and put one of them in the box with my Infinity, and it was a little embarrassing because I now have this nice Rolls Royce at a fraction of the price of this other device that I had, and it put it to shame.
Wow.
So the top device that we've had, it's around $4,000. And our Infinity Wand way outperforms that device at a fourth of the cost.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. Well, our whole goal here at Solex is to make it to where we can bring products to the public that are worth the money and actually do what they say that they can do. And that's good to hear.
Well, I appreciate that because we knew that the cost of these things were way overpriced. Yeah. And they just recently raised them again.
Oh, my word.
And there's all kinds of quality issues with those. So that's another thing that I was saying. When I put it next to my older devices, we already knew there's defects with melting and burning up and blowing up and fan blades breaking off. And I mean, just all kinds of things. It's like, Why are people spending that kind of money for that kind of performance when now we literally have a Rolls Royce that we've never had any of these things happen? It's a much better quality, again, at a quarter of the price. And not only that, I haven't seen any company do what Solex is doing, where we get a 30% off loyalty coupon every 3 months for having an active subscription. And we can use that on these higher device items.
That's wonderful. It makes it to where you can get it.
Oh my gosh.
The one thing I think I would like to just say on this too is we'll have people say, well, if I have it this close, I get this much heat. And if I have it, the way it feels on you is going to be different than the way it feels on somebody else because of hydration levels, skin type, what, there's so many things. So you adjust it to where it's comfortable
Exactly.
for you. Maybe you need to be 6 or 7 inches away where somebody else might be able to get the same benefit at 3 inches.
Well, and it's going to change.
Yes.
As the body is healing itself, the sensitivity starts changing.
Yes.
Literally, when I had an injury, I have an old injury in my ankle. And when I started using my infinity wand with that, I could not get very close to that area. I could blow the rest of my body really close. But that area,
Not
it was
so
on
much.
fire because there's blockages in there and it's much more sensitive.
Right.
And I love that you hit on the hydration. People have got to drink water because we're electrical beings and we're using electrical currents. So we've got to stay hydrated. A power plant can't produce electricity without water.
That's right.
Neither
Not
can
for
the
very
human
long.
body. Exactly.
Along with that, we as Americans, we tend to think of a little bit as good, a lot's better.
Right.
And in most cases, it's the opposite.
Right.
And so we need to get into the habit of using it for what we need and don't overdo it.
Exactly.
And that's with everything.
Another thing that I was thinking when we were talking about charging the water, when I literally have a hairdryer stand and I just hold it up over my water. I like that instead of blowing through the glass. It's just me. But what I notice is when I go to turn it off, it's like my body's like, just blow it on us, please. Because seriously, your nervous system relaxes. It's like an air of negative ions. And I tend to want to blow my face and my neck. For one, I've got a lot of sun damage, opening my throat
Thyroid,
chakra to speak for myself, thyroid weakness. So it's like the body will tell you what it wants. You have to be in tune. Listen to what your body's telling you. Start blowing it and trust your intuition with where your body wants it.
So that is the thing that we try to teach people. Listen.
Yes.
Listen here.
And you can't do it wrong.
No, you can't. Okay, so the next product in the AO Infinity line is the AO Infinity mat. Now, the mat is something we've worked on for a little over a year. There's other mats on the market, infrared mats, stone mats, all sorts of things on the market. We felt like we could do something maybe a little different, maybe add a few more features, and in the end have maybe a better experience in the end. And so we worked on a mat. And what this mat is basically an infrared heating mat that has all 7 of the chakra stones in rows going across the mat, that when they're heated, and that's scientifically proven that when you heat a stone, it emits a frequency. Well, we're using 7 very specific frequencies that we know align with the body. Mm-hmm. So then we have pulsed electromagnetic field, PEMF. Now, what is that? Now, there's lots of pulsed electromagnetic field products on the market. Our philosophy was to put out a PEMF that was mild. It was a low intensity. So somebody with a pacemaker, an internal insulin pump, a defibrillator, isn't going to have an adverse reaction to it. But they're still going to get the benefit of this better circulation through their body because the intensity is low enough. Mm-hmm. On on this mat, now the PEMF, here's the thing. If I have you lay down on a PEMF coil, okay, and I charge that coil with the electricity and it creates the magnetic field, well, the first time you use it, your body's going, oh, I really like this. Second time you use it, oh, yeah, I like this. I remember this. Third time is, oh, we're doing this again? And get down to 5 or 6 times and say, oh, geez, I don't need this anymore, and it ignores it. The Russians were pretty smart when they came up with traveling magnetic field. What they did is they put in multiple coils. They put the same energy into each coil, but at different times. So in the matter of a second, each coil got energized in a different sequence than the other coils. And so every time you lay down on that mat and you turn it on, it's like, oh, I like this. The next time they do it, oh, I like this, because it's different. It's different every time, so the body can't anticipate it and ignore it.
That's genius.
And so, yeah, they were brilliant. So we put that into the mat as well. So every time is like the first time. So you get that benefit of the infrared heat, which is in that wavelength that is induced or conducive to the body, with the frequencies from the stones and the traveling magnetic field.
Yeah, that's genius.
So, and you use your mat.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Yeah, I use mine mainly for recovery because of bodybuilding. You know, I'm tearing muscles, I'm creating lots of free radicals, lots of inflammation, and I've got to keep that under control. And I'm usually tired. So it's a great place for me to take a nap when I get home from the gym. And I'm reducing all that inflammation. I'm helping my body to repair everything that we've just torn. And it helps me sleep better. But
Wonderful.
I have been on multiple other mats before. You know, I've got friends that have all kinds of different fancy mats. I've never really gotten excited about any of them. I haven't really experienced anything that caught my attention that I would invest in. And again, this is what I get so excited because I feel like we have something very different than what's out there that actually I notice big differences at a quarter of the price and less.
Yeah.
Blows my mind.
That's great. The Infinity mat has actually all three of these products have just taken off.
Yeah.
We find them more in back order than we have in order. But the mat's a wonderful tool for everybody, whether you're old, you're young. You mentioned it helps you sleep at night.
Yes.
My wife uses hers probably 3 times a week to just be able to where she can relax and sleep.
Yeah.
And so it's true. It's an amazing tool, again, to help the body do what the body does.
You know, another thing that just popped up was if you start coming down with some symptoms, like maybe you're sneezing or coughing or you're getting some sinus issues or something, we know that our bodies heal best when we're asleep. We also heal great with fever. So self-induced fever and some sleeping, that's just going to amplify and shorten your time through this situation, whatever it is that's going on.
Right. And that brings us to the next product in the AO Infinity line, and that is the AO Foot Detox. Now, the foot, you talk to people about foot detox, and they'll envision that little bucket with the water and the coil in there that makes the oily water.
Which I have.
Which you have, we've all had. But the AO Infinity Foot Detox is totally different.
Yeah.
It doesn't work on an ion exchange in the water, which is what those water foot baths are. You have a coil in there that's creating an ionic exchange, and it's bringing sweats out of our body, out of our feet. And by the color of the water, we can tell what kind of oils are coming and what kind of toxins that generally relates to. The AO Infinity Foot Detox doesn't do that.
Right.
We are using an induction coil, kind of like on your stoves, where you can put a pan on an induction and there's no flame and you touch it, it's not hot, but it will boil water. It's something developed by the Germans, and it's called hyperthermia. We're putting a radio frequency through our feet that creates a low-grade fever. We're actually increasing the core body's temperature 1.5 degrees. We're putting a full body fever through the whole body. Now, people will say, well, why can't I do that in a sauna? And yes, to a degree. The difference is a sauna is a heat from the outside in. Hyperthermia is a heat from the inside out. And so in a sauna, you're going to get warm, where your body is closest to the coils. So you're not going to get an even heat through your body. On a RF, a radio frequency through your feet, your whole body is heating up. Your whole body, you're putting the whole body in a fever. And we know fever is good. We know that if we get a cold, we'll get a fever in the head or in the chest. But a full body fever doesn't give opportunity to the viral or the bacteria in the body to move somewhere else and wait. Take a sabbatical while you get done with the fever and then come back. So that's the difference between it. We're not an ion exchange. We're an induced hyperthermia. And you just put your feet on there and you do it. Now, you've been using yours for a little while. So what kind of experiences would you say you've had?
Well, I found it curious that I have an injury on this side, and yet the other side, when I use the plate, that ankle is like on fire. And I touch the plate's not hot, but that ankle feels like it's on fire. And I'm like, okay, there's got to be something going on there, that energy's not flowing the way that it's supposed to be flowing. And I've heard this with other people as well, where some people are like, yeah, I can feel it clear up my calves. Or someone else will say, well, I can feel it clear up my thighs. And someone else can say, I feel it clear up my body, which is what we ultimately want.
Exactly.
But if you're not feeling it all the way up your body, there's something going on that's got to be cleared out.
Okay, so that's a good one. Let me answer that one. So two things are happening. You're putting a radio frequency into your body through your feet. Okay, so it's going to start at your feet. Every organ in your body has acupressure points or acupuncture points in your feet for every organ, right, in your feet. So you say you feel it in your left ankle. And that's because there's two energies happening here. One is the heat that the body is generating, which is going. The other one is the radio frequency passing through your body. Now, in your case with your ankle, if you've got a blockage or scar tissue or bone fractures or any type of a blockage in that ankle, then that radio frequency is hitting a wall. And it will start.
What it feels like.
Yeah, and it will start to get hot and be a little painful.
Yeah.
And the only way you can deal with that is to turn the intensity down.
Right.
Now, what we tell people is it will eventually clear that blockage. And it will go through, and when you put your feet on, over a period of a few sessions, it will actually go right through. You won't feel that in your ankles, but you might start to feel it in your knees.
Right.
And again, there's a blockage.
Yeah.
There's a nerve bundle that hasn't opened up to allow the energy to flow. Ultimately, you would like to feel it all the way up to your shoulders and neck. But even though you're only feeling it maybe at this point in your ankle down here, maybe up at your knee or your hip here, you're still sweating. Your body still went into a full body fever. So we want to get both of those things to go through the whole body, not just the fever.
Right.
So that's what you're feeling when you feel that in your ankle. There's a blockage that radio frequency can't pass.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't have to be an expert and understand what it means. I just have to keep using it and trust my body to self-repair. I also love the fact, I know you call it a waistband. I call it a torso belt because it literally covers your entire torso.
Yeah.
And I, at first, didn't understand why, had to do a little homework. And I started remembering some of the other foot plates that I have been using and some claims that they've made about it being a PEMF plate. It's sending PEMF clear up your body. When I started doing my research on that, that's not really what the science says. The science says that PEMF is best when applied to an area in need. And I thought, okay, so that's not going very far.
No.
What I love about the band is that I love the pulsation, the vibration, and the heat, and the fact that PEMF is now being delivered into my entire abdominal cavity, affecting all of my organs and all of the tissues in there. And literally, when the foot part's over, I don't want to give this part up. It feels so good.
So what's happening there is in your waistband or your torso belt is the PEMF that you're feeling there is very low intensity. So it's very mild to any of the organs. It's not going to affect any internal pumps. Right. But you get that vibration, which gets better circulation, and it's stimulating the liver, the pancreas, and the gallbladder, and even, to some degree, your intestinal tract. So you're getting the heat coming up, you're getting the energy coming up, and then you get right up here where it kind of wants to stop, and you're kind of pushing it through. And it's helping the detoxification in your process, which is important because if you're going to have kill off, which will happen through fever, you want it out of your system as soon as you can. So that's the reason the belt is so powerful.
Well, I actually have had to loan mine out. I had a family member that needed it worse than I did. So I'm waiting on my second unit to come now because I'm craving it.
Good.
But I have grandbabies that have been using the belt at night before bed because they've had some belly issues, and it has calmed down their belly issues and they're sleeping better.
That's amazing.
So grateful.
That is awesome.
I just remembered another story. My friend Ellie, actually, she's 19, and she started breaking out around the hands and the feet and the mouth and went to the doctor, and the doctor told her that she had hand, foot, and mouth.
Oh my.
Well, we know that's nasty stuff. It literally can take a couple of weeks to heal, and it's miserable. She went home to use her foot detox, 30 minutes twice a day, and our wonderful methylene blue. And on the highest intensity and actually had it completely wiped out in 3 days.
That's amazing, isn't it?
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah, that is so cool. Well, these are our products right now in the AO Infinity line, and so much appreciate your comments and your experiences that you've had with this. So.
Well, I appreciate that you're bringing these to the people, because this is my deepest passion, is that every single household is empowered with the very best of things that they can use for self-help. And you are giving us exactly the things that people can have in their own homes that are not so expensive they have to go to a clinic day after day or week after week. They can actually afford to have it in their own house so their whole family can use it.
That's
I
awesome.
am so grateful.
Okay.
Thanks for listening to the Solex podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration, and the AOScan mobile device is not a medical device and does not diagnose, treat, or cure any disease.